is something that has been a problem. It's something that we are trying to deal with, and so we are dealing with it. I think that what I am interested in is to see the reaction to other powers. Like, I don't know if we've heard anything from China. I don't know. I think I saw something where Russia has made a statement about this. But if we do not stand up, and if we let ourselves be intimidated every day by the risk of having a nuclear attack by Iran, we're not doing ourselves any favors, and we're not doing our children and our future. So I say we gotta do what you gotta do. And I, for one, am glad that we have done what we have done. So we'll see what the fallout is. We'll see. They said it's going to take a while to be able to tell whether Iran, how badly damaged. Is it totally damaged, partially damaged? Did they have any of their, was there nuclear material that was stored? What is the, quote, fallout from all this? But this is something I think, although nobody wanted to take this, I think it was a decision that overall most people are looking at as that Donald Trump had the cojones to do something instead of stand there cowering. And he's not known as that type of person, and he proved that. So, that's pretty much for right now all you can say. You got to admit, though, where you fall on this, to have seen the way our military carried out this operation with the big fake, telling everybody thinking that they were going west to Guam when in fact they were going east, that they were able to get into the country undetected, drop the bombs, get out. And I tell you what, the coordination that happened between the bombs that were sent from the submarines, the aircraft carrier, the submarines that were sent, that left almost an hour before, and then everything impacted on almost the same time. That truthfully was an amazing feat. And then to have left there with not any attack or anything on our military, and to be out of the area, and then to be back here in the United States, 37 some hours, something like that, was truly amazing. So I, for one, am excited to have seen our military respond as well. And I think for those who have no faith in our military, or who have wondered about how our military was doing, would feel a lot better knowing that we have a situation that was carried off flawlessly. Now, what will be the fallout from it? I don't know. I do know that Russia's UN ambassador has said that through their actions, the U.S. has opened a Pandora's box. I'm sure one could feel that one. No one knows what new catastrophes and suffering it will bring. And that was from the Russian ambassador, or Russian representative to the UN. Well, maybe Russia will decide to come to the table with Ukraine. Maybe they'll quit screwing around and decide to come to the table. These are things that we would hope would happen, and I think President Trump has more than adequately shown he is for peace. He has tried numerous times to get Iran to the table. He has tried numerous times with Ukraine and Russia to get them to the table. So what are we going to end up with? I don't know. the guy who is Nebas something or other, Russian. Let's see now, what's his name? Russian UN Ambassador Valesy Nebezaya. There you go. They had an emergency meeting on Sunday, and this is where he was speaking. And he said, unless we stop the escalation, Nebezaya warned, the Middle East will find itself on the verge large-scale conflict with unpredictable consequences for the entire international security system, plus the entire world might end up on the verge of a nuclear disaster. Well, there is one thing that will stop that. Stop Iran. Stop Iran. Why should Iran, by continuing and being allowed to continue to do what they were doing with the nuclear and getting closer and closer to having a bomb, why should they be allowed to do this? I think the one wild card that not much has been said about is North Korea. Where do they stand on this, since they have a nuclear power? Where do they stand? Would they come to the aid of Iran, or are they now fearful enough to see that America, the sleeping giant, will react? That, I think, is the one that is probably another, quote, loose cannon out there. So we'll have to just wait and see what happens. But I think President Trump did a gutsy move, but a move that needed to happen. Every time you move the goalpost with your red line and you don't make a decision to do something, when Iran kept pushing and just continuing, ignoring coming to the table and everything, if something wasn't done, they would have had their nuclear weapons. And even if they hasn't been destroyed, we have certainly, United States has certainly put Iran back. I did hear, interesting to note, that Israel has been firing on the roads to the big, Fordham, the big nuclear site in Iran, to try to keep them from being able to get inside to see what's going on, the Iranians. So I think that's a good thing. I think the Iranian leader, Khomeini, is getting a little concerned because he now has 3 people that he's thinking might be good replacements. So that's some of the things that we are looking at as far as where we go from here. Now we'll have to see what happens next. But I know that Israel certainly is thankful for our support, and I think the world will be, even though they were a little shocked that America actually pulled this off. I think it's also going to be interesting to see what happens in Congress. They're talking about impeaching the president, of course. They're talking about that he violated the War Powers Act, that only Congress can declare war. As the president said, he hasn't declared war. So it'd be interesting to see how this all shakes out. Should be a very interesting week on the national and international world here. One of the things that is something to be concerned about is any of these sleeper cells that are out here in the United States. Are we going to see any retaliation that way? And I will say, from that standpoint, I think that, of course, that is a possibility. But I also think now the United States is on high alert about this, so the reaction will be very swift if there is something. So, FYI, it's going to be hot regardless of where you're at, and this is just heating up things more. Let's go ahead and check the weather report here and just see what we have on the weather, because that's what we have. We have hot weather. All right. So, what is the weather here today? Are we live? Yes, we're live, Ann. Okay, just checking, making sure that I'm live here. All right, what do we got for weather here? Right now, it is 82 degrees outside. Feels like 88 degrees. We are headed for a high today of 96. So, in keeping with that 96, if you go with the feel like and it continues in the same realm, that means we should feel like 102. Plenty of sunshine, hot, winds light and variable. That is for this morning. Tonight, we're looking for clear skies and a low of just 72. Tuesday, we come in with sunny along with a few afternoon clouds, near record high temperatures, high of 99 degrees and a low of 74 degrees. Wednesday has actually cooled down a little bit because I looked at that earlier, maybe this weekend, and they were talking about 100 degrees in actual temperature. Right now it says Wednesday, sun and clouds mixed with a slight chance of thunderstorms during the afternoon. Near record high temperatures, high of 97. Chance of rain is 30%. With Wednesday evening with isolated thunderstorms during the evening hours, low of 69, chance of rain 40%. Thursday cools down 93, Friday 92, Saturday 91, Sunday 91, next Monday 92. So we are headed for the high one, headed for the high temperatures. Don't forget about your pets. You leave your pets outside if their doghouse is out there in the sun, please make sure they have some shade. Getting in a hot doghouse is not an answer, So just wanted to say that, and also make sure they have water. I would, some of the tips that are out there, if you can, check their water a couple of times during the day. If you're putting it in a metal dish, make sure that you put some ice or frozen block of ice, something like that, to help with the hotness of the water, because when the water's hot, they might as well not have any water at all. Not that I'm saying they shouldn't, but I'm saying you've got to provide at least cooler water for them to drink. It is just a horrible time of the year for all. And for humans, stay hydrated. Humans, if you do not have air conditioning, make sure you have moving air. Fans help create that. And if you know somebody that is elderly living on your street, you might check on them, because sometimes elderly people just don't even think. They're just sitting in a chair and they're hot, and it's just a bad situation. So please make sure that we check on them. That's where I just want to take a minute and talk about Meals on Wheels. What a great program Meals on Wheels is. How Meals on Wheels helps with just putting eyeballs on somebody every day that they deliver a meal. If you would like to help out with Meals on Wheels, please help out if you can. It's an excellent program, and I know that they can always use help, whether it's help for preparing meals, help for doing some office work, or delivering meals. All of those things are great things to help out a program. And in the summertime, who knows how our elderly are going to be reacting with this unbelievable heat. You know, normally we say we get into July and then we have the heat. Well, right now it's already started in June. I don't know what July's going to be like with the Festival of Discovery and Blues Cruise coming up. So, what else we got here? Alan Wilson. Alan Wilson is going to be announcing his oh, I lost my article. Running for office today. He is going to be doing that down there, I believe, in Lexington. So, that's one thing that we're going to just check that out real quick so I can give you some details. Supposed to be 6 o'clock, something like that, I believe, is when we're supposed to be finding that out. So let's, oh my goodness, where'd it go? Where'd it go? That is something that is, everybody's been waiting for it. And this is it. He's now officially in, and let's go ahead and talk about it just a little bit. As I said, we're going to have him on Thursday afternoon, 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. So we haven't really had. We've been talking about this, seems like forever, but he's finally jumping in. Today at around 6 o'clock, Palmetto State's four-term Attorney General Alan Wilson announces his candidacy at an event in his hometown of Lexington. Wilson will reportedly make it official during a gathering at Hudson's Smokehouse in Lexington. So that is also Wilson's announcement is expected to come around the same time U.S. Congressman Ralph Norman formally announced his entry into the race, although a specific date and location for Norman's announcement has yet to be revealed. Ralph Norman is running, wants to run for governor also. Interesting. He, of course, is a congressman. He's been at odds on a lot of things. As a Republican, he's been at odds with a fair amount. I'm going to say a fair amount of things that Trump people and the current administration. So I guess it's not surprising that he is getting out. He also was an ardent supporter of Nikki Haley. In fact, I talked to him when he was here when Nikki Haley was running for presidential office. So that should be an interesting addition. Of course, Nancy Mace is out there, and Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette are also going to be jumping in the race. And who knows who else will be jumping in the race. Wilson enters the race as one of the front runners to win the GOP gubernatorial national nomination, which is the only race that matters in South Carolina. No Democrat has won a top-of-the-ticket race since 1998, and the last gubernatorial nominee, former U.S. Congressman Joe Cunningham, drew an anemic 40.67 of the vote against McMaster. So we will see how this goes out, but Alan Wilson is jumping into the race. Now, what will happen when Alan Wilson jumps in and says, I could give up this position right here? There's a lot of other people that are going to be jumping in the race for the Attorney General. One of them, probably David Stumbo. Probably our own David Stumbo has said that he is interested. He just has to make that final decision. Of note, if David does decide to jump in the race, he is not at jeopardy of losing his position right here in Greenwood because he was just reelected. So that's an interesting position to be in, to be able to put your toes in the water, run like hell, to see if you can win the race. But if you don't, well, still got my job as a solicitor for Greenwood, Newberry, Abbeville, Saluda, Lawrence. So he still has that position. And there are a few that have that possibility. So we'll be watching to see what Alan Wilson says in his going for the gusto, running for governor for the great state of South Carolina. You know, it's not too hard to tell when people are running, is it? All of a sudden they have their profile up. All of a sudden they want to be on the radio with you. They get the job and then they're like, I don't have any time for you at all. I've known Alan Wilson since his first run. I mean, he won, but his first run for Attorney General back when, what was that, 2011, 12, somewhere in there. Anyways, I've known him for a long time, and of course know his dad, Joe Wilson, who is up there in the big house. So it's going to be an interesting election for sure. All right, I wanted to just go over that because that's happening Thursday. We're going to have him on the air with us. Now, in other news, one of the other things I wanted to cover this morning is these new driver's license that are going to be, your driver's license are going to change. Oh, Lord. That's right. Your driver's license are going to change. Let's see. If you have any questions here this morning, 864-229-7984. That's 864-229-7984. Let me know what you're thinking this morning about what is happening. Any questions? Anybody want to weigh in on things? Please let me know. I don't know what that comment's in relationship to. Okay. Anyways, we'll get back to that. But I want to talk about the driver's license. This is important information to know. Starting this fall, I don't think they say when this fall, the Department of Motor Vehicles will no longer issue day of driver license in a shift to make state IDs more secure, the agency announced Friday. That's right. Residents with current licenses don't need to get theirs updated until the expiration date on it. The new licenses, beginner permits, and identification cards will be made of stronger material and use laser engraving that makes them more difficult to counterfeit, according to what the state is saying. First and foremost, these updates will better protect South Carolinians from becoming victims of identity fraud. And that was just, we keep having all these breaches. They had a huge breach last week. The thing about it is, we have all these breaches. And do you remember the first time this happened? Remember in South Carolina when Governor Nikki Haley was governor, and I think she actually worked hard to get them to give identity theft protection to the people. It was a huge deal. Now we have things that are so much huger than the one for South Carolina was. And yes, they still give you protection and this type of thing. But people are just like, there's no privacy. Isn't that the problem? Not to go off topic. I got to stay on topic here this morning. We'll go back to that one in a second. Anyways, it says, first and foremost, these updates will better protect South Carolinians from becoming victims of identity fraud. Additionally, they will provide a more secure and reliable credential for law enforcement, merchants, retailers, and other parties who count on the authority of the licenses and identification cards we issue. That is from the agency director, Kevin Schwedo. The cards will look different, using a to-be-announced new design that more prominently features Palmetto State imagery, according to the agencies. The changes involve centralizing the production of driver license permits and ID cards. Unlike the current system in which a person visiting the DMV can leave with a license or ID before walking out the door, the state DMV will start mailing the cards out. So, in the meantime, oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Unlike the current, you are listening to WCRS right here in Greenwood, South Carolina. If you're watching us on Facebook, that's 98.5 FM, 1450 AM, and streaming at WCRS1450am.net. Talking about driver's licenses and how they're changing here in South Carolina. Unlike the current system in which a person visiting the DMV can leave with a license or ID before walking out the door, the state DMV will start mailing the cards out. In the meantime, people will receive a temporary certificate that serves the same purpose as the card which they applied for, according to the DMV. Because receiving a new card could take up to 2 weeks to arrive in the mail, the DMV encourages people not to wait for the expiration date of their licenses to renew it. Their local branch will be able to return the older license or ID with a hole punched in it so people can continue using it until their new one arrives in the mail. At least 45 other states already use this process, according to the DMV. So they say they do not have a timeline for when the change will take place. They say sometime this fall, but they don't actually say. 2 branches in Columbia and Lexington are expected to make the switch first to work out any kinks, followed by the remaining 63 offices across the state 2 weeks later. So that's a little bit about what's coming on your driver's license. So everything's got to change. What the heck? What the heck? Well, my driver's license doesn't expire for a couple of years, so at least they'll be able to get all the kinks working out. I'd hate to be one of those first ones that had to get my license changed. You know how these things go. But anyways, that's what we're dealing with right here. All right, now back to this breach. You know, they're doing the new driver's license so to create less possibilities of duplication and fraud. I just want to say this. We have become numb to the fact of driver's licenses, don't you? Or any type of privacy. In fact, our children grow up today, they have no idea about what privacy was, which I think is sad. But so when they talk about this and they talk about breaches, like I said, there was a massive breach last week. And they have said that they are going to give them, I don't know, 2 years of ID protection and this type of thing. But, you know, I don't think people even look at it the same as they did. Back, as I was saying, when Nikki Haley was governor here, we had a huge one here in South Carolina, and it was a thing that dominated the news for days. Now something like this happens, and yes, it's in the news, but for a very short period of time, and it doesn't seem to have the same oh my God effect, unless you are affected, and then it's an oh my God effect. So, that's just another story that I found interesting. We talked about the new driver's licenses. I did want to talk about the shooting in Anderson. This is a very, very sad when they were celebrating a Juneteenth event that we're celebrating it on Saturday. Of course, Juneteenth was on the 19th. This was in Anderson, hundreds gathering along the Scarborough Road near the Veterans of Foreign Wars Hall for the 6th annual Anderson County Juneteenth celebration. A physical fight erupted in the parking lot later that night, shortly after multiple shots rang out, striking at least 10 people. One person died, 35-year-old LaPortia Jane Gray Cobb died at the scene from a gunshot wound to the abdomen. Injured were 9 others were wounded, 2 critically, with 1 transported by air to Greenville Memorial Hospital and others taken to local hospitals. Over 100 law enforcement officers, EMS personnel, firefighters, and other responders rushed to secure the scene and assist victims. Hundreds of people that were there scattered in panic, some leaving shoes, cup, and debris behind as they fled. That just shows you, that comment right there just shows that people just ran. Authorities don't believe the shooting was politically motivated, but no arrests have been announced. But the sheriff's office has identified persons of interest and is actively investigating. And if anybody has any tips, please to send those tips via Crime Stoppers. Such a sad thing for something that should have been such a joyful Juneteenth celebration. Had been going very, very well, and then to have this happen. So our hearts and prayers go out to those in Anderson. Let's hope that they are able to catch this person or persons that started this and get to the bottom of it. Oh, so that was another, and of course there was a Juneteenth celebration on Saturday at the park over there. One that happens just about every year. I think it's been happening for the last 6 years or so. So that was a successful one on Saturday. But now we got to talk about the bear that was spotted in the lake on Friday. I know a lot of people have been talking about this, and bear spottings looks like they could be back to being a big thing. Group of boaters and families enjoying the first official day of summer on Friday encountered a bear swimming near Harris Landing. Black bear swimming towards the shore while a few boats had stopped and were watching it. They had been cleaning her mother-in-law's rental property on Shoreline Drive, had taken a break to cool off in the pool with her kids. They saw the bear was swimming right by our dock. That is pretty unbelievable. Tammy Waldrop, a South Carolina Department of Natural Resources black bear biologist, said that a handful of bear sightings in Greenwood are reported each year, and sightings have been consistently reported in the county for about a decade. I used to have some good bear stories when the bears were first coming down from the mountains, because they used to be up in the mountains, and then as more and more vegetation and their habitat is taken away, this is what happens. They keep moving for easier food sources. So it says Waldrop, who is the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources officer, said the bears are going to food sources, and deer corn being scattered on food plots attracts all sorts of wildlife besides deer. She said bears have been seen as far south as Aiken and tend to follow riverbeds. Black bears are like overgrown raccoons. Really? That's what this DNR officer said. That's Tammy Waldrop, noting they're drawn to bird feeders and trash cans as food sources. They're not out to get anyone. If you're concerned about a black bear coming into your property, she said, to removing bird feeders and accessible trash cans can be a preventative matter. Just be aware. Black bears aren't seeking humans, but rather easy to get food like bird, seed, trash, and deer corn. There was another sighting. Where was that sighting that was out there in closer to town? It was in a development. Where was that? I don't remember. Does anybody remember? It was posted on Facebook. I posted it on my Facebook page. But yes, that was got a lot of traction on my page. So FYI, just for the record. But that's there was another sighting. So be aware. You're probably going to see them. I tell you, the most interesting story I have about a bear was Jeff and I were traveling down there. We were down near Hardyville, and if you go the back way and you go through kind of that swampy area, it was like 6, 7 o'clock at night. It was just starting to get dark, and this was back probably in the 1980s. I don't remember, 81, 82. And Jeff and I had been traveling, and we were in our old greeny station wagon, the Oldsmobile, the big Oldsmobile that just loved that vehicle. We called him Old Greeny. I hated when that car died, but it would always get us home. Regardless of whatever its problem, it always made it home. Anyways, we're driving, and I'm driving, of course. I was always driving. And we're driving through the swampy area there. And I look in front of me, and it's dusky, so you can't really see it. And I thought, my God, that's a big dog. So I slow down because I don't want to hit it. We get right in front of it, and this big bear stands right up. Ah! I was like, oh my God, I think Jeff had been asleep or something. I said, Jeff, wake up, wake up. He looks at it and he goes, drive very slow, Ann. So we watched it for a couple of minutes as it stood there. No other traffic was coming. All of a sudden it goes, I'm tired of you guys, and he rumbles off into the swamp there. But it was not a swamp creature. It actually was a bear. Probably. I mean, it probably was 20 feet tall. But in reality, it probably was about 10 feet tall. So, anyways, a bear story from my past. There you go. We just had a message from someone. Let's see if I can pull that up real quick. Let's see. What does somebody say here? I'm going to try to see if I can get that up here for us. Bill says, here we go. Well, I'm going to try to get it before time runs out here, Bill. Please pray for Jeff and Sandra Hicks' son stationed locked down in Qatar at this time. Absolutely. All the people that are over there, but anybody that, of course, is local, we want to make sure they're in our prayers. So there are people serving in our military. There are people doing amazing jobs around the world, and all of those need to be in our prayers, absolutely. So, thanks for sending that out. Please send up a prayer or two. Keep Jeff and Sandra Hicks' son stationed locked down in Qatar at this time. And that's the thing. It's going to affect bigger areas than just Iran and Israel. Israel is getting pounded. Israel is getting pounded too. So, what else did I have that I wanted to talk? Oh, we were talking about the bear in the lake. The bear in the lake. I told you my big bear story. But a few years ago when we started this show, God, do you realize coming up in July, I will have been on the air almost every day since 2007? Oh my God, how long is that? That's ridiculous, Ann. Let's see, it's 2025. It's 2025 minus 2007. That's 18 years. Times, I don't know, I don't do Sundays, so, but still, that's about 300 days times 18. Well, let's just see, 300 days times 300. It's got to be more than that. I don't think that's right. 18 years times, let's say, 300. It's 5,400 days. Is that all? Then you multiply the number of hours that I've done. Oh, my God. Unbelievable. Anyways, moving on. Peggy and I used to do the show back starting in 2007. I don't remember exactly what day, but it was in July of 2007 when the I Love Ann show was born right here on WCRS. Well, actually, it was WLMA that we were on first, and then I bought WCRS. All right. I thought I had something else I wanted to talk about. I've got to finish up here. I've got an appointment I got to get to. So don't forget, the Humane Society is doing affordable spay and neuter Tuesday, June 24th. They've got exams, wellness exams. Check the Humane Society's Facebook page or their web page for more information. They do everything from surgeries, spay and neuter, to vaccines, dog vaccines, cat vaccines, and by the way, they do rabbit spay and neuters. I find that amazing. They also have some other dates coming up. I think they have one in that's June. I think they have one in July and one in August. So the Humane Society is doing a great job doing that. So if you want to schedule an appointment, you've got to look up Mobile Spay and Neuter Clinic. But go to the website or Facebook page of the Humane Society for more information. Just wanted to mention that because that is coming up. Also, coming up on, let's see, in Greenwood on the 27th, and in 96, they are having Mrs. Frizzle and learn about science of color. It's colorful science adventures packed with hands-on fun. In 96, it's at 10 to 11. In Greenwood, it's from 1 to 2. So it says, dress in your brightest outfit and get ready for a journey that's anything but ordinary. It's all about color. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I also want to remind you, I want to say a couple of words about the dedication of the Mays Center over there, the Benjamin E. Mays, the preservation site over there. They had the ribbon cutting and dedication ceremony for the museum. They also had a ribbon cutting and dedication ceremony for Dr. Orville Vernon Burton for his research library, and the unveiling and dedication ceremony of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Monument. And although it was very hot, it was a huge group of people there, and kudos to pulling that off, putting it together. They did have a few audio issues, but overall they got it done. It was hot outside. They moved everybody inside. That was a little cooler, although it was a packed house. So congratulations, and of course that was courtesy. All that extra work that was done was courtesy of the Capital Sales Tax Project, the 2016 Capital Sales Tax Project. I also want to remind you that we've been doing some, what I would consider yeoman's work on keeping our local government accountable. You know, I think it is important that media keep our governments accountable, whether it's city government, whether it's state government, whether it's county council, whether we're getting the transparency that we need, whether we're included on what is being talked about. And last Thursday, we had County Manager Toby Chappell on with us, along with Theo Lane. We got into quite a discussion about why money is spent the way it is spent in the budget, why certain groups were given the money and why certain weren't. I'm not really going to say any more about it. Number one, I don't have enough time to. But I think the bottom line to this is that we need to be involved more in the process, and the county council members definitely need to be more involved in the process than what they are. So I would ask that our county government make a way to make so that county council, you know, in the city government, all the different departments present their budgetary needs when they get ready to do the budget. They do it to the administration, but city council members are there too. And I think that, to me, that gives a better way to let people know what other people need within your group. You're not just a sole group saying, well, I need this. Maybe it's a win both ways, because number one, a city employee gets to see the need over here, so maybe they can say, well, I understand they need that, and that really is a higher need than what we need. But the bottom line is, it's a more open process. The county seems to keep it as something that is department heads present it basically to County Manager Toby Chappell and Stephanie Turner, who is Stephanie Dorn, Stephanie Dorn, who is the treasurer. and then they present which things they think they should go forward. I think a more open procedure with county council members being involved, department heads being involved, would make for a more open process and maybe make so that people understand the decisions that are being made. Now, that is just my opinion. I would like for you to go back. There's 2 of these political interviews that I think are well worth spending the time watching or listening to on Facebook. And yes, this week they will be available on YouTube. Coming real soon, YouTube. That's right. So please make sure that you go see them. One is the one that was done on, let's see, when was it done? Okay, it was done on June 11th. That was with County Council person Kathy Miller and Mark Allison. They were discussing some of their understandings of how the budget is done, why they were done, etc. So please check out that one. That was on June 11th. Then last week on June 19th, Theo Lane and County Manager Toby Chappell were on. I think those 2 are very good in being able to understand what is happening in our county, why money is given since the budget just did come out. I think it's important that we understand. I also think it's important that we, the people, are more involved in this. And I will just leave it at that. And please go back and watch it, like it, share it, get more people to see it. Maybe next year the county can have a more open process on how they present, how the people that need the money, the different departments, and how we can look at this. Because as Toby Chappell, our county manager, said, the fire fee is going to be going up and taxes are going to be going up. And he thought that was not a newsworthy, but I do think we do need to be aware of what we are spending our money on. So please check out. You can go to WCRS 98.5 FM, 1450 AM on Facebook and find that one, or both of those. The 11th was Kathy Miller and Mark Allison. They are both members of County Council talking about the budget. And then on the 19th, the one with Theo Lane and Toby Chappell, who is county manager. And of course, Theo Lane is the County Council chairman. So please check those out. If you have questions, call your council people about what you hear in those interviews and what you think about those interviews. If you want to let me know what you think about the interviews, I'm always all eyes, ears, and everything to hear what you have to say. That's going to do it for me. I got to go to an appointment at 11, and I'm going to be running fast, and Penny's not going to be happy. Why? Because she's not going to get her breakfast. That's why. She's going to have to wait and have brunch. There you go. That's going to do it for me. I hope you have a great day. Let's take it away right here live on WCRS. Have a great day, but stay cool. It's going to be a hot one. And don't forget about your pets. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everybody. Oh, that's right.